need a better introduction.
You really are frozen.
All right, you're there, and you're on mine. Your camera messed up, but it's cool. It's cool.
All right, we're good now. All right, we're recording. What's up, y'all?
All right, we're starting off with the NFL, right?
Yeah, NFL. Let's get into it. I have something on my T-shirt. I'm an official Carson Newman alum since the last time you guys watched. So, all right. So, first topic on the topic block is Dak Prescott's reportedly going to make $30 million a year to make him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL per year.
You know what happens with that, right?
What happens?
He'll start sucking.
Oh, he'll start sucking. I thought he already sucked.
He'll keep sucking, but then he'll do worse. He'll throw more interceptions than touchdowns this year, and then they're like, "Well, we gotta do something different, guys." And it's like, "Well, we just invested in this quarterback a butt ton of money, and we can't do that back." Yeah, that's going to happen. That should have happened like last year and the year before. So
yeah,
I don't know.
That's true.
They'll probably blame it on the coach and then go from there. But they ain't gonna sign anybody, so that's all right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, obviously we're kind of on the same page of this topic. Dak should not be paid $30 million a year. He's a game manager at best. He can't make throws down the field. I mean, he's not. He's a serviceable quarterback, and he can get you to the playoffs, but that's about it. That's his peak, and someone's peak should
maybe
determine
the playoffs.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's him. I think it's also his team and minus Jason Garrett.
Well, you're right, because I think his success has a lot to do with the people around him. So if your peak is playoffs, I don't think that should mean you should be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. So,
especially with the people out, the many quarterbacks out there, and how much they get paid. Like, come on now.
No. Well, yeah, and you see, man, a lot of these teams, like you have the Eagles, for example, a couple years ago, the Rams this past year. There's so much success when you have a quarterback under a rookie contract so that you can pay all these other players, and so that you have a lot more money to pay better players, and you have a lot better chance of making the Super Bowl. So whenever Dak gets on that big contract, they're not going to be able to pay other free agents. So they're going to be pretty much stuck in this world of 8-8 or 10-6 every year because they can't get any better players, and they have an average quarterback at best. So, yeah, I think it's gonna be a huge mistake if they pay him that much.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I can't believe that happened. It might have, or it's expected to happen.
Expected to happen, yes. All right, so this next news is just kind of funny. I just found it hilarious. One team reportedly asked Daniel Jones to work out at tight end because they didn't even view him as a starting quarterback in the NFL. That's just hilarious to me.
Do we know what team that was?
I wish we knew. I hope it's like a division rival. I hope it was like the Eagles or something.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. How you gonna like take a quarterback from college and be like, hey, can you work out as this? Because we don't want you to be what you want to be. No.
Well, it cracks me up, though, because it's like the Giants view him as a top 6 player in the draft, whereas somebody else in the NFL views him as probably like a second string tight end. It's just like, yikes. I don't know, man.
If he was tight end, yeah, you're right. He'd be second string, third string on practice squad.
No, starting tight. Yeah, exactly. So it's either like really disrespectful by that team, or the Giants just look like morons, which is probably a little bit of both. All right. So the next thing is, I just found this interesting because I think it's an interesting topic. So before the draft, Nick Bosa had some controversial tweets about Colin Kaepernick and Donald Trump, basically some pro-Trump tweets, some anti-Kaepernick tweets, and people were wondering if it hurt his draft stock. So Richard Sherman, I guess, was asked about it in a media scrum or something, and he said he doesn't really care about the comments as long as the kid can play. And I honestly think, I think Richard Sherman's point needs to be broadened to everybody else coming out of the draft, because so many of these kids, like, they're tweeting stuff at the ages of 16, 18, and these teams are judging them based on what they're tweeting, and that just irritates the crap out of me, because people put crazy stuff on social media all the time. Not only Nick Bosa, but Josh Allen the year before that had some, a racial slur on his social media when he was 14 or 15 years old, and apparently it dropped his draft stock. I'm like,
Yeah.
how? He's like a 15-year-old kid. How are you letting that affect his draft stock, man? I didn't understand that.
Yeah, that's dumb. I mean, yeah, I think they need to put that out anymore. Like, who cares? Unless it's something like crazy, crazy. But literally,
Yeah,
like who cares? Like, you know,
seriously, who cares?
or
It's
just stop doing stuff like that. But I mean, like it's your president though. Like, why ain't you gonna lift him up? You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Well, exactly, and it's like, I don't know, man. It was just crazy how people were judging Nick Bosa, because I mean, it wasn't like he was saying anything directly racist either. He was just putting out his political views, and that just turned people off. I think what Richard Sherman said was really smart. If he can play, who cares what he tweets? Like, who cares what he
Yeah,
said? Like, he's there to play
exactly.
football. He's there to rush the passer, and if he can do that, then who cares? So, I
Yeah,
like to see Richard Sherman say that as a leader on the team.
yeah, for sure, dude. I think that's good to have him on the team
Those
with
young
Bosa
players.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah. So just a couple other things to mention. So the next wave of free agency, because we talked about this the last podcast, we talked about how guys like Adama Sue, Eric Berry, Ziggy Ansah, they're still not signed. Well, they're expected to be signed after today. So apparently there's something significant today happening, where those last bit of free agents left will be signed. So I think that's pretty good for them. Hopefully they can go on contenders and make a team better.
Yeah, yeah. I think they'll probably might get minimal year deals, like 2 year deals, since they weren't picked up earlier. So I think
Yeah.
they'll just get the minimum, but I have no clue where they're gonna
Now,
go.
because there's a lot of options. Because those players, I really think they're better than a lot of the rookies coming out. Obviously, even though they're older, like Eric Berry and Adam Sue, I really think they can make a difference. But people just don't want to pay them the big dollars since they're big time names. And since
Yeah,
they're so old, like you say, they'll get 1 to 2 year deals, but hopefully they can all go on playoff teams and make a difference. Like, I would love to see Adam Sue come to the Colts. Like, I feel
yeah,
like we could use him in the trenches. So, yeah, I mean, I just hope, especially Eric Berry, because we love Eric Berry as UT fans. I hope he goes to somewhere that has a chance for a Super Bowl.
for sure. That'd be nice. Except
Um,
Patriots.
oh God, don't be the Patriots. Please don't be the Patriots. They'll probably turn his 2 year deal into like a 5 year deal, and he'll win like 3 Super Bowls with them or something. Um, okay, so the last bit of thing I just want to mention real quick is JPP. It was just announced today that he might be out for the year after that car wreck. It really sucks for him, man. It looks like his career might be coming to an end. But
Yeah,
it's weird because he's had injuries that are so bizarre. Just a couple years ago, he had the firework accident, which was horrible. And then now
yeah.
the car accident. Kind of an
He
unlucky
needs to
dude, it
stop
seems like.
doing stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Stay inside, man. Get somebody to drive for you. But yeah, man, just hopefully he gets better soon, because that's pretty unfortunate for a guy who was pretty good at one point in the NFL.
Yeah, for sure. I think it said it was a neck injury or something. I don't know when we'll find out for sure if he's
Yeah,
out for good or not, but everybody's saying he's going to be. Which, I mean,
yeah,
it's still early though. Like, if
yeah,
it's
no,
that significant, I mean, like, dang, like that's
yeah,
crazy.
exactly. Yeah, it really does suck for him, because something like that you may never recover from, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, all right, I'm pretty sure that's it for NFL. Got anything else to say about? Most of this news seems comical to me, though, like the Daniel Jones and the Dak Prescott stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just NFL trying to make some news just because the
Exactly.
NBA is here. They don't have none.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing on the NFL right now. All right. So speaking of NBA, there's a lot of great games on. We haven't been with you guys on the pod since like May 2nd, I think. So the last game we saw was the Raptors and 76ers game three.
Mhm.
There's been a lot of games since, and we'll go over those games.
So yeah, the next game was the day after that, which was the Bucks and Celtics, which Bucks took that one. That was 123 to 116. And one thing with all these games from there on, all of them have been like super close, and
Yeah,
few of them went in overtime, but like all of them been super close. Everybody's stepping up their game. They know what needs to be done from there from game three on out to
yeah.
try to win the series. But Bucks and Celtics, yeah, that was 123 to 116.
And that put them up 2-1, and I think Giannis really has dominated the series thus
Yeah,
far. After that game one, kind of where he just didn't show up, he really dominated this game. And it's so fun to watch the Bucks play, dude, because like Giannis, he's obviously pretty much like a center. Like that's how he plays. He plays down low. He plays in the paint like a center, but he can distribute like a point guard. So how they run their offense, they basically have him kind of running point sometimes, and he gets down low, and then I'll see him drive to the basket, but then he'll kick it out for a three because they're one of the
yeah,
leading 3-point shooters in the league, 3-point shooting teams in the league. But he doesn't shoot threes. Like he doesn't even shoot the three that much. So he just kicks it out to teammates. And as long as his shooters are hitting shots, man, I think the Bucks are a pretty scary team.
yeah. They had in that game, three players had 20 or more points. It was him, Chris Middleton, and George Hill. All had
Wow,
20 points or more. And
that's
if you
pretty
look at
good.
the Celtics, I mean, they did pretty good too. I mean, they scored 116 points versus 123 in that game, and they were still up there. Kyrie Irving had 29 points. Um, Everybody else, uh, in the teens, a few in the high teens, and somebody had 20, but it just wasn't enough. Like most of the
Yeah.
games are, they spread it out. People got points. It just wasn't enough points.
Well, maybe we can get into this earlier, or later, but since we'll talk about the other teams, but I would like to talk about how Kyrie. The biggest thing with Kyrie a couple years ago was that he wanted to leave the Cavs because he didn't want to be in LeBron James' shadow anymore. But
Mhm.
to be honest, in this playoffs, man, he really hasn't stepped up to to the occasion. To be honest, just because you look at all these other guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo or Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant, like these guys are really stepping up for their teams, basically putting their teams on their back and showing that they really are superstars. Yet Kyrie Irving wants all the good stuff that comes with superstardom, but doesn't want any of the negative stuff that comes with it. And I really think he needs to step up for the Celtics, especially since they're down 3-1 now.
Yeah, with Kyrie, they were talking about how I think he went what seven, I don't know, 7-14 or something like that. Um, I don't
Oh
know
no,
what
it's
it
like
was.
7-22.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
from the
he
field.
and he said at one point he said, "Oh, that won't happen again" or something, and it happened,
Yeah.
or,
And
or
then
something like
what else
that.
did he say? He said he just cracked me and Austin up off air, man. I was showing him the quote, and at some point somebody asked him about his shooting woes, and he says, "quote Who cares?" I'm like, maybe all of Boston cares, man. You're literally stinking up the joint, and you're not winning any games. You're down
Mm.
3-1. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
he's frustrated, so I
Yeah,
understand
I
that, but I
understand.
don't understand
Understand.
why he would have a comment like that. But people are saying this is like the worst 3 game period playoff of his career. I mean, if you
Wow.
look at it, he went 4-18 3 games ago, 8-22, and then 7-22. Like you just you
Got
can't
to
be
do
doing it.
better.
Like I don't know.
Got
It
to do
feels like
better.
he's not even practicing shots before
Well,
the game.
well, well, man. If you want to call yourself a superstar and you want to be the man of a team, you have to step up, man. Like I say, all these other players, like even Damian Lillard, you can throw in the conversation, or Nicole Jokic, like the Joker, man. Like they've all stepped up for their teams and they have put their teams on their back and they've overcome adversity, and that's why you see all these other series are tied 2-2 because these superstars are stepping up. Yet Kyrie Irving is supposed to be the superstar for the Celtics, and he's not stepped up. So he's got to step up.
Yeah, let's go to their next game. What was the score of that one?
The Celtics Bucks.
Yeah, let's just go to the next one.
That was last night.
That was 113 to 101, and Bucks took that one again. So it's back-to-back wins. I think the next one, the Bucks is going to get it again.
Yeah, they'll probably finish the series out at home.
Yeah, I don't think the Celtics can step up in this next game, especially having back-to-back losses like that.
Yeah. Well, they've had three losses in a row actually. Since winning game one, they've lost 3 in a row to the Bucks. So yeah, I think it's going to be. I think the Bucks are going to finish the series out. Me and Austin actually predicted Celtics after game one, but I think we didn't realize how. Like, we forgot how dominant Giannis was because he really did take over the series, man. I mean, last game, nobody even for the Bucks had over 20 points, but he put up 39 points and 16 rebounds. That's unbelievable numbers, man.
Yeah.
Like he just completely carried them throughout the game, and that's what I'm talking about with Kyrie. Like, Kyrie, what does Kyrie have last game? 23 points? Got to be better. It's got to be better. Like, it's got to be up in the 30s if you want to win playoff games, man.
Another thing to point out is in the previous game before this one, the Bucks had 66 points or 52 points in the paint, and this game they had 66 points in the paint.
Wow.
This game the Celtics had 44, and they only had, like, I believe 20 something in the game before that. So
That's rough.
Bucks are locking it down in the paint, and they can't. And Celtics can't do nothing in the paint. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, that's something they need to work on. I'd have that on the whiteboard if I was the coach. I'd be yelling at them about that because like, there's no reason for that. Like, 66 points in paint.
That's Giannis, man. He eats down low, dude. He just doesn't, like, he cannot be stopped. Like, watching him, you should see some of his post moves too. It's not like he's just dominating down low. He does have some nice moves down there, and they got to figure out a way to stop him. I don't think it's going to happen though. I think the series is a wrap. It's definitely a wrap. I think the Bucks are going to finish it out 4-1.
Yeah. The next game was the Nuggets and Trailblazers, which was on Friday. That one went into overtime. Yeah, it was a great game.
4 overtimes. It went into 4 overtimes.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable, dude.
Yeah, Blazers. It was 140 to 137, and it
was a great game.
Yeah, it was. For the Trailblazers, Damian Lillard, he had 28 points, which was all right, and then C.J. McCollum had 41 points.
Stepping up, man. Stepping up.
Where did this guy come from? He played 60 minutes, dude. That's a long time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately, because this was the game after game 2, so this is game 3. They played game 4 last night, or maybe 2 nights ago. Anyways, I think the fatigue really carried over into game 4 because the Trailblazers missed a golden opportunity to go up 3-1 at home, and they really screwed up in game 4. But obviously, if you have your guys playing 60-plus minutes in game 3, they're going to be tired the next night, and they were for sure.
Yeah. I don't know how to say his name, Nikola
Jokic.
Yeah. He did pretty good that game. He had 33 points. Jamal Murray had 34. But during press conference, he broke the mic. He pulled it out, and then he was just looking at it. Like, somebody had to come up there and fix it. He didn't know what to do. He just pulled it out.
Oh, that's so funny, dude. I didn't even know that happened. Yeah, dude, he's played unbelievable in this series. Dude, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I think you really see the top players in the NBA when come playoffs, man. Come playoffs, like, they have really stood out. Because if you look at Kyrie Irving was on his way to being a top 10 player in the league. But if you look at the playoffs, and the same thing can be said about Russell Westbrook. Just look at the playoffs. Whoever's stepping up in the playoffs, those are the top players in the league. Like Nikola Jokic, Damian Lillard, even CJ McCollum, I mean, he steps up, scores 41 points. These guys are now, in my eyes, considered the best players in the league because they're stepping up when it counts the most.
Yeah, exactly. Their next game is the fourth game. The Nuggets took that win, and that was 116, 112. And
it was
then
a great game.
The game after that, which will be Game 5, is going to be at the Nuggets. Who do you think will take that game?
So I'm gonna have to say Denver. I think Jamal Murray, man, he's really developed into a pretty great point guard. And if the Joker keeps playing like he's playing, man, I think the Nuggets will probably take that one. But the series will go to 7 games. I think Trailblazers will take the next game. And I think it'll be a Game 7, and something I'll definitely want to watch.
Yeah, for sure. That one, I didn't think that out of all the playoffs games, I thought that one was going to be one of the lower tier ones. But I mean, they've took it to the limits. They showed
great.
up. I mean, all these players, they're good having on their team. People are showing up when it counts. I mean, all of these are good to watch. That one's especially good to watch. That game is late today at 10:30. I'd like to see some highlights of that one. I think the Nuggets will take it, but I hope it ends up going to like a Game 7.
Yeah,
maybe another overtime. I don't know.
We'll see.
I like them being close.
Yeah. All right. So that series is getting pretty interesting. A series that me and Austin didn't even have our eyes on that much, but another series that we absolutely love is obviously the Warriors and the Rockets, a series that we thought was going to go to 7 games. So this series got interesting, man. We both predicted on our pod, I think last time we did it on Sunday, that the Warriors were going to go 3-0, and they almost did, man. It went into overtime. Game 3 went into overtime, but the Rockets finally pulled it out, which I was super happy to see.
Yeah, that one was good. Kevin Durant, he dropped 46 points. Everybody else below him had less than 20 points. I mean, everybody else has got to step up, but 46 points, that's crazy. James Harden, though, he was up there. He had 41 points. His team just did a little bit better. Eric Gordon, 30 points. That's 71 points between the two. Nobody else on the Warriors, decided to play. It was just Kevin Durant, and
that's what I'm saying,
shooting,
man.
He's doing good, but
that's what I'm saying. He's unstoppable. It's playoffs.
Yeah, I'm glad the Rockets end up getting that one.
Well, I don't know if you saw, but before the end, I think it was before the end of overtime. It might have been before the end of regulation. Curry missed a wide open dunk. He just missed it. And it's like Curry was super unclutch in that game, and Kevin Durant stepping up, man. And I think, like I said before, this postseason has showed that Kevin Durant is definitely the best player in the league. There's just not a question about it. And just because, for the simple fact that look at Curry. I mean, people have said, I've heard Max Kellerman and all these analysts on all these networks say time and time again that Steph Curry is more important to the Warriors than Kevin Durant. That is just false. That is just false. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. I mean, the numbers clearly say that Kevin Durant is the most important player on that team. And me and Dakota were talking on Facebook, man, and he made there's a good point to be made. If Kevin Durant never goes to the Warriors would be one and done. They would not have won another championship, because I do not think that team could have beaten LeBron again. And if Kyrie and Kevin Love were healthy in the first series, the first time they played in the championship, they never would have won a championship. They never would have won one. Kevin Durant is by far better than Steph Curry. He doesn't just shoot the perimeter shot like Curry does. Now, I know Curry can drive to the basket, but KD can drive to the basket. He shoots the perimeter, and man, dude, I swear he has the prettiest mid-range game I've ever seen. I was watching the game last night, and Kevin Durant's mid-range is unguardable. People literally can't guard it. And I don't think I've ever seen him miss a mid-range shot. So Kevin Durant is by far the best player on the Warriors. And I don't want to hear Max Kellerman go on the network anymore and say, oh, Steph Curry is the most important player on the Warriors. Give me a break. Kevin Durant is the one who shows up when it matters most, and he's averaging like 40-something this playoff series. He's by far the best player on the Warriors.
I'm telling you, yeah. If you look at the games versus the Rockets, the first game, he had 35 points. Okay, then 29, then 46, and then 34 the last game.
And led his
Like
team
that's
every game. That led his
yeah
team every single game.
yeah. So I don't know what he's saying. Steph Curry's not even in the conversation.
No, it's Kevin Durant, and it's not even close, dude. And like, no disrespect to Steph Curry, but he doesn't play defense either, man. I was watching last night, dude. Watch this man play defense against James Harden. He literally looks like he's on roller skates. He's going like this. He literally looks like he's on roller skates, man. This man cannot play defense. And Kevin Durant does play defense. So all this crap about Steph Curry being the most valuable player on the Warriors needs to stop,
Yeah.
especially after this playoff series.
Yeah. The next game, the Rockets took that game as well, which
Yeah,
I like to have them back-to-back wins
back
like
to
that.
back.
That boosts their confidence for the next game
Game
or the
3.
next game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a series, man. It's definitely a series now, and
Yeah.
I think it could go 7 games, to be honest.
Now this game, Kevin Durant had that 34 points, but then Curry also had 30. Curry showed up, but the only reason people need to be talking about him is if he shows up again, and that's what he needs to do is show up.
Yeah,
And that's the only
exactly.
reason they should even talk about him. But
Yeah.
in this Rockets win, James Harden, he had 38 points.
He went off, man.
Yep, he did good. Everybody else, did okay. It wasn't that great. It was an okay scoring game, I'd say. But looking at stats, I thought people would be a little bit higher than their next person would only had like 20 points.
Yeah.
One thing to look at though is the points in the paint. The Warriors had 52 versus 42 for the Rockets. So I mean that's something that they need to shut down.
Well,
Is Kevin Durant.
in the paint, exactly. But dude, I don't know if you saw this stat or not, but the Rockets shot 50 3-point shots last night and hit 17. They shot 50 threes. I can't believe that. That is so many threes, man.
Yeah.
That's
Dude,
unreal.
so one thing though, I don't know if you've seen this, but Kevin Durant has been like physical, especially during this last game. Like he was pushing, elbowing, everything. He knocked down Chris Paul a few times, I believe.
Oh my
He put an
gosh.
elbow to James Harden back of the head when he blocked
I
his
like
shot,
it though.
which I can understand. Like that might have been a mistake, but dude, he's getting physical. He might get another ejection if it goes like game 7 and it gets physical because the Rockets still push back, but
Oh yeah.
like he needs to calm down before he does get an ejection because if
You're
he
right.
does, they're going to score 30 points less per game then if it happens. So,
Yeah.
but that's something to watch out. You'll have to look that up, but it got physical.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think James Harden's finally stepping up in the playoffs, man. I think it needed to happen. Obviously James Harden's been criticized the last couple of years for not stepping up in the playoffs, and I don't think you can say that this time around. At least the last 2 games. Like he's gotta keep showing up. Like he can't just show up these last 2 games and stop showing up. But man, he played wonderful last night. I saw a couple step back threes he had, dude, and it's just so fun to watch him hit a step back three.
Yeah.
But yeah, the series is definitely the series to watch. In my opinion, it's going to be the most interesting series going forward because I think either team that comes out of that series is going to win the championship ultimately.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the next game was the Raptors and 76ers. This was at Philadelphia, and Raptors took that win. And we both know who ended up helping that, and that was Kawhi Leonard.
Of
He
course,
almost dropped 40.
of course.
The
And,
next person close only had 29 points, and that was Jimmy Butler on the other team.
yeah,
Let's see. JJ Redick, he had 19 points. Ben Simmons, 10 points. Joel Embiid, 11 points. How you going to
what's this?
have one of your top 2 stars
Well,
combined for 21
11.
points?
Oh God, that's rough. So this was game 4, right? Because game 3, I think we covered game 3, maybe. No, I
Yeah,
don't think we did.
I believe
Anyway,
so.
so okay, well, the 76ers won game 3 at home, obviously, and then they played game 4 And that's when they lost to the Raptors. And dude, I'm telling you, man, Kawhi Leonard has looked amazing in this series. Like he looks unstoppable. He hasn't had one single the series is tied 2-2, but he has not had one single bad game offensively or obviously defensively. He's one of the best defensive players in the league. Well, yeah, let's talk about Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid because apparently 9 hours before the Game 4 game, Joel Embiid texts Coach Brown and says that he can't play because he's ill. And I just want to get your take on that before I say something.
Okay, so it was 9 hours before
the game.
So why are you even talking about that? Okay, 9 hours before I go to work, I'm not gonna call in and be like, yeah, I have the craps or something. I don't think I can make it. Like that's just ridiculous. Like, come on now, like it could pass. And like what you said, like Stephen A. Smith was talking about. What like
how you take a power nap? Yeah, take a 4 or 5 hour sleep and feel better. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous, man. I think Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons both have a lot of growing to do. Because if you think about it, man, you got all kinds of famous ill games, like sick games, like Michael Jordan's flu game where he went off. So you have all kinds of superstars stepping up while they're sick. I think Joel Embiid, like I said, man, countless times already on this podcast, I think it's a theme this NBA playoffs is that you have all these regular season players who look like they're top 10 players, like Joel Embiid, but when it comes to the postseason, it really determines who's top 10 players, who's top 5 players. And Joel Embiid's not in the conversation. He's been too inconsistent in the playoffs. Even without the illness, just a couple of games ago that he wasn't putting up 20 points. It's like in the playoffs, if you're a top 10 player in the NBA, you should average 25. Simple as that. You should average 25 because you're getting the ball more. All right, I know you're focused. The defense is focused more on you as well, but you're getting the ball way too much. You're shooting too many shots to not average 25 a game, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's ridiculous. Like you said, but both of them have a lot of growing up to do. They are inconsistent. I think it is just because they're young that they don't have the experience as some of these other guys like Kawhi Leonard. I mean, he went to the playoffs like I'm pretty sure every year of his career.
Yeah, and he's a champion. He's an NBA Finals MVP, man. I mean, he's a champion. He's an MVP.
So like somebody like him, he knows. But like Kevin Durant, he shows up in the regular season every single game, and then playoffs, like it's just insane. And then you look at these two guys that everybody has a conversation about, in the regular season, and then it comes this time and this happens. Like they need to step up their game if they still want to be talked about. Like that shouldn't happen.
No. All right, man. I think is that it for NBA? Is that all the series?
Well, yeah, that's it. But who do you got in the next game? 76ers or Raptors? I got the Raptors since it's at home and they came off that win. I don't think Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid will show up. Jimmy Butler.
I'll say this. If one other player for the Raptors has over 20 points, it's a wrap. Like they're definitely winning the game because Kawhi's putting up over 30 because he's a superstar.
Yeah, he's having 35 plus.
Easy. I mean, like that's if there was a line on his points in Vegas, I'm betting the over, bro. He's having over 35 for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking that up, seeing what that is, if there is one. But yeah, for sure. For sure. That's easy money right there.
Yeah. All right. Well, 1 sec. I gotta put my phone on charge. Be right back. 1 minute.
All right. Let's take a look at these odds here. See what these are. I don't even know if they have those odds.
All right. Let's see here. Boom. Cool. All right, we're back. Just a little technical difficulties. So yeah, man. I'm easily taking the Raptors in that game. I think they're going to win the series as well.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so I think that's pretty much it for NBA. NBA has been awesome, dude. It's been really fun to watch. And I really do believe the Warriors have a chance to lose this year since Steph is playing so poorly.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much been our issue with the NBA is just the lack of parity. So more parity, I'd really like to see that. Oh yeah, there's two other things I mentioned about NBA real quick that I forgot to mention. Obviously, the Ty Lue rumors. It looks like Ty Lue's going to be the next coach for the Lakers, which seems like such a LeBron hire, obviously, since he's coming from Cleveland. But you have to satisfy your best player, obviously, because he's your best player. So I don't have any issue with that.
Now, one thing I want to go back to Kawhi Leonard, his points on the bet here. It's total points is 32.5. You can bet the over or under on that.
I'm betting over. Yeah. Give me 100 on the over, baby.
I'm gonna take over 32.5 points. We'll see what he does this game. And it's home. I don't know where they're trying to pick that number from. Like I would have went higher, at least like 35. But I think he'll score.
This man sleeps and gets 35, man. I mean, he's eating Ben Simmons up this series, dude. It's gonna be easy. Yeah, I like the over on that for sure. So another rumor is that if Klay Thompson, that is, doesn't get the max with the Warriors, he'll go to either the Clippers or the Lakers. What do you like, either Clippers or Lakers?
Well, I kind of think he might be, if he doesn't stay with the Warriors, I think he's going to be all about money, and I don't know how much each team can spend, but I think whoever can offer him the most money, but I mean, it depends on how much more. If it's just like just a little bit more, then he'll probably, like, either way, he'll probably go to the Lakers. Even if the Clippers offer a little bit more, but if it's a significant amount more, then he'll probably go to the Clippers. Yeah, I think the Clippers could pay him more, but I think he'd like to get in the game with LeBron and play with LeBron instead of against him. Yeah.
So here's the thing, man. Klay would be perfect with LeBron because LeBron loves spot up shooters, and that's exactly what Klay is. He scored 60 points one game with 11 dribbles. Austin, 11 dribbles. So this man doesn't need the ball in his hands. LeBron loves the ball in his hands. So if Klay goes to LeBron, I think that's a match made in heaven.
Dang, 11 dribbles, dude. That's insane.
11 dribbles. It was crazy. All right, is that it on the NBA? Are we good on the NBA?
Yeah, I think. Something I do want to mention that we didn't mention in the last podcast was the Nets player. What was his name?
D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, D'Angelo Russell. Yeah, he got cited for marijuana possession. Yeah, they said it was in like a Arizona can or disguised as that. So I don't know exactly what it was, but like he's going on an airplane. Like, don't take that stuff. I mean, you can get it elsewhere, wherever you land. Like,
exactly.
It's probably 1 out of 5 people have it on them at all times anyway. But I mean, that's just a dumb move. But it's just, I mean, it was just a citation. I'm surprised I didn't hear anything about being fined from the NBA yet, which it might happen. But it's not the NFL. So I mean, NFL they'll find you for anything.
Oh, easily, right away.
Nick Bosa might get fined for those tweets he had when he was 16. I mean, you don't even know.
Yeah, I think. I think it was. I mean, listen, the NBA doesn't care if they smoke pot. 90% of NBA players probably smoke pot. But come on, man, why would you put it in Arizona? Like Austin said, like whenever you land, go see the locals. They got some pot, whatever. The stuff that these guys will do for weed is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But whatever. Just a bonehead move by him. A player that I really like.
Yeah. All right, I think that is it as far as the NBA news. I'm excited for the next games, and hopefully we can watch a few
Yeah, some great series. So yeah, that's it for NBA. There's a couple things of MMA we're going to cover, some UFC stuff. Me and Austin both correctly predicted the Cowboy that would win the main event on Saturday. We didn't correctly predict like what round and stuff, but it was
Yeah.
unanimous decision. But Cowboy won. So like, what's next for Cowboy? He called out. He either said he wanted the title or he wanted Conor McGregor. What do you think he's going to get?
Well, I think Conor McGregor is the type of person where if he gets called out, he said he's retired. I think he'll just brush that off his shoulder. Like he
Yeah.
might trash talk a little bit like he does, but then I think that's as far as it'll get. So I think Cowboy will
Yeah.
get the title fight.
I
Um,
don't. Wow.
I, yeah, I don't think there's anything with McGregor there. I mean, he's retired.
Yeah. I don't either.
Yeah, everybody wants to call him out, but like, why?
Well, I predict that Cowboy is actually he's not going to fight for the title next because Habib and Dustin Poirier are fighting for the net title. But I think he's in line for a title shot, like you said. I think he deserves it. He's on a win streak. I actually think he'll probably fight somebody in the top five because he actually hasn't actually fought anybody in the top five yet.
Yeah.
Maybe like an Edson Barbosa, although Barbosa just fight. Maybe Justin Gaethje. Actually, that's the fight I want to see. I want to see Justin Gaethje versus Cowboy Cerrone. That's the fight I want to see. That would be a great fight. That's a fight that like you have to watch because that's just going to be so exciting. So
Said
that's a
fights
fight I
all
want
the
to watch.
time. When do you
Yeah,
think he'll fight next? You think it'll be like
two
next
months from
month or
now.
after
Probably.
2 months?
Yeah, 2 months from now. That's usually his style. He'll go like every 2 months, which is crazy. He's a
What
nutcase, man.
what if instead of getting a random fight, he gets a title fight? When do you think that'll be?
Well, Habib comes back in September, and I think
Oh,
it'd have to be after the Habib Dustin Poirier fight. So I
so
think,
late.
yeah. See, here's this kind we can tie in our other news with this because Habib says he wants to fight 3 times in the next 11 months. Well, if we work out his fights, it could be like this. It could be he fights Dustin Poirier in September, and then he turns around and fights Cowboy in December, and then he'll fight. Who else could he fight? Maybe Justin Gaethje or Max Holloway again. Maybe Max
That's
Holloway.
all.
Obviously,
Okay.
that would be a pretty good fight. Although Max just lost at 155. Could be a Conor McGregor rematch.
And what,
So
like February, March?
yeah, March, something like that. Yeah. I think that could happen. I think if Cowboy beats a top five opponent, he better get a title shot though. He's earned it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but he's the leading, he's the most winningest UFC fighter of all time. He has the most wins in UFC
Really?
history. Yep. He has the
How
most
many
wins in
wins is
UFC
that?
history. I think he just got his 17th, maybe, in
Dang.
UFC, and that's the most in UFC. It's not the most like total wins in MMA, but it's the most in UFC history.
Yeah. Dang, that's crazy. Yeah, I think he should for sure get a top five fight, and then after that, go for the title fight.
Title. I would love to see that. I think he'd lose to Habib, but who wouldn't he lose to Habib?
Yeah.
Um, so the other stuff is mostly about DC.
Hmm.
So DC versus Stipe 2 was announced. That's obviously the first fight was incredible. I was actually sitting right behind here when I watched that fight. It was a really good fight. So they're gonna fight in August. So who do you think's gonna win that fight, DC or Stipe?
Man, I like DC. I just like him. I think
Yeah,
it's going. I want it to be him.
I do
And
too.
go Stipe, but I like DC a lot.
So I think what's on the line for this? I think if DC wins this next fight against Stipe, he'll be considered the greatest heavyweight of all time. So I really do think GOAT status is on the line for DC here. And he says he also after the Stipe fight he wants the trilogy with John Jones. And if that happens at heavyweight, and if DC beats Stipe at heavyweight, and then goes on to beat John Jones at heavyweight, he'll be considered maybe the greatest fighter of all time. So a
Yeah.
lot of legacy on the line for DC, I think. I actually think Stipe is going to win the rematch. So I think
Well,
Stipe is going to win. Yeah, well, because the first fight was really close until DC knocked him out. But DC always surprises me, man. I've picked against DC a lot, and he always wins. So it's kind of crazy.
So when is this next fight?
August 17th is the next fight.
Dang,
We'll definitely watch it. Maybe we can go live for you guys and watch it and get our live reactions. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that's
We'll see.
a long way away, but
yeah,
that's all
it'll
right.
come. It'll come. We'll just have to wait. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Besides the fact that Brian Ortega wants the rematch with Max Holloway at 145. My opinions on that, just real quick, is that he should get the rematch just because 145 is so dead right now. 145-pound division is besides Max Holloway is pretty boring. So I'd like to see Brian Ortega get the rematch.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
It was a good fight, man. You watched it with us, right?
Yeah.
The first time?
Yeah.
It was a good fight, man. It was a really good fight. Also, I forgot to mention this. Tony Ferguson is officially coming back. And Tony Ferguson, I don't know if you know this, Austin, but he's like he's on the highest win streak in UFC right now. Only, I think one guy's ahead of him, but he's on like a 10-fight win streak or something like that, which is insane.
Now, did he retire?
No, he didn't necessarily retire, but he was coming back from injury. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully he keeps that going. I like to see things like that just keep going and record breaking for good people. So hopefully come back from an injury that's big. But, has been announced who he's fighting?
No, see, he fights in 155, and they've put together the Khabib versus Tony Ferguson fight 5 times, and it's fell through all 5 times. So I'd like to see Khabib can defend his title against Tony Ferguson at some point.
Dang.
There's a lot of fights at 155, man. Cowboy, Dustin Poirier, Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
And then you got Conor McGregor in the mix whenever he wants to come out of retirement. So yeah, UFC's pretty interesting right now. Hopefully they actually put on some good fights soon, though, because the next pay-per-view card is kind of pathetic. We need some better fights, Uncle Dana. Come on, man.
Yeah, we do.
All right, man. That's pretty much it. You got anything else for us?
No, I think that is it.
All right, dude. It was fun. Episode 3.
All right, yeah, it was fun. All right, we'll do it again after a few more playoff games. Talk about those.
All right, sounds good, man. Later.
All right, later.